just capitalizing on what we think we are good in and dominating the whole world completely. It's like your son is doing well in athletics, and your son is also in school and very average in mathematics. Then instead of hiring the best athletics coach in the world, you are trying to hire the best mathematician to train your son. And then everything becomes average. Like the athletics where he is so good in comes down to meet the mathematics, which is being boosted a little bit. Then you remain with an average son on everything. I would rather we think the opposite. If my son is doing well in athletics, then I should hire the best coach in the world and dominate the entire world on athletics. So Kenya, according to me, from what I saw, we are sleeping on this thing. Let's dominate the athletics if it is our sports. There are countries which do not do all the sports at the same time. They pick one sport and that is what they dominate globally. But here we are trying everything, and then we are the ones we can use to dominate the world is coming down. The ones we are not so good in, we are trying to put everything to bring up, and then we are remaining average. But that is it. Congratulations to the team, Team Kenya. Coming to your question, Fred, there are two things I want to point out according to me. Number one, Kenyans entirely as a country, probably we fail at the time of campaigns because we measure on what and nobody talks about the how. So and it is going to repeat itself in 2027, and it has started maybe. So we only want to hear the presidential candidate talking about what they will do. But we don't measure on how exactly is this going to be done. And I have seen countries where a presidential debate is not just about what are you going to do. It is more of how are you going to achieve this. And probably this time, if it was my wish, we need not to just pick everything the presidential candidates say, I will do this, I will do this, I will make sure this, I will make sure that. How exactly are you going to do it? Because he promised the houses, and now the how could even be conflicting with the laws that are in place, but it is, for him, it is what he promised, it is what he must deliver. And that takes us to the thinking that now the people are thinking about in terms of what is wrong and what is right. But the president and largely many political players at the top are thinking about what works for our regime and what does not work. So they are not thinking the same. So the people where I am, where I belong, are thinking about in terms of what's wrong and what's right in what you are doing. But the president and his team, whenever they sit in their corner thinking about the election of 2027, they are thinking in terms of what's going to work and what's not going to work for 2027 election. And that is where the conflict is. So I wish the leadership would be thinking the same way with the people, what's wrong and what's right. So some things are not wrong, but with the current situation, they don't fit in the frame. So if the affordable housing has got a framework and has got a policy, then even if you would have wished to give our sportsmen and women a show of goodwill in terms of giving them houses, the teachers, and even the men in uniform, you just realize it's a good thing, but it is not fitting in this frame. So maybe can we find another way that will appreciate the teachers in terms of getting good houses? Can we find another way that will appreciate men in uniform in terms of showing that this government appreciates the work you're doing out there? But you can't fit everything in one frame. It does not work like that. Then lastly, I think the president, as at this point in time, should now stop living in the old constitution where presidency was a bag of goodies. In the days when Honorable Kirwa went to parliament, I think that was okay because the constitution allowed all that. The district development funds, everything was channeled through the presidency like that. And so it was okay for the president in those days to just walk with bag of goodies, and when he is in your constituency, you would ask Mheshimiwa Rais, ukiona ni vizuri this road, then Mheshimiwa Rais would dish for you a road or two, hospital or two, school or two. But now we are in the 2010 constitution where this thing had moved, but the president still operates as if we are in the presidency with bag of goodies. And that is where you and I would be called to State House, we discuss, and the president says as if his word is law, like the constitution before 2010.
Right. Wanakiro, you must agree that probably that's the thinking, that back then President Daniel Moi could even create a constituency as he walks around. We've seen now